The day I moved into my dream house was the same day my new neighbor called 911 and tried to ruin my life. She said I was a criminal, that my friends and I were casing her property. By the end of it, her lies didn't just bring the police to my driveway, they nearly destroyed the career I'd built as a cop. It was mid-July, the hottest day of the year, the kind of heat that makes the pavement look like it's melting. I was standing in the driveway of my first real home, sweat dripping down my back, clutching a big armchair I'd saved up for. My two best friends, Sam and Jay, were hauling boxes out of the U-Haul. We were laughing, teasing each other, making the whole miserable job feel lighter. And then her voice cut through the air like a siren. "If you don't get your thug-looking friends off this street, I'm calling the police. You're casing my house." I froze. Did I hear that right? I turned my head slowly. Across the street stood an older woman, late 60s, platinum blonde hair frozen in place like a helmet, white linen pants, silk blouse, a little yappy dog losing its mind on the end of a leash. She was pointing straight at me, lips curled into a sneer. My first thought was, really, I'm in my own driveway holding a damn chair and somehow I'm a burglar. Jay's face darkened. He's got a temper, and I could see him ready to snap. Sam touched his arm steady as always, signaling him to hold back. Me. I tried to stay calm, my voice as even as I could make it. "Ma'am, I live here. Just bought this place. We're moving in." Her eyes narrowed pure disbelief. "You live here? Don't you lie to me. We don't have your kind in this neighborhood bringing down property values." She whipped out her phone fingers, jabbing the screen. And right there in front of us, she started telling 911 a complete work of fiction. 3 aggressive men, gang members, threatening her life, planning a robbery. My stomach dropped. She was actually doing it. I felt the injustice like a punch to the gut. This was supposed to be the happiest day of my life. Instead, I was about to be painted as a criminal in front of my new neighbors. Within minutes, a squad car rolled up, lights flashing. 2 officers got out, hands hovering near their belts. They spread out, cautious. We knew the drill. We've all been on the other side of those calls. We raised our hands, slowly, palms open. I could feel every curtain twitch, every pair of eyes watching from behind blinds. The older officer stepped forward. "We got a call about a disturbance. What's going on here?" Before I could speak, the woman launched into her performance, clutching her chest, trembling, voice shaking. "They threatened me. They tried to break in. I'm terrified for my life." She was good. I'll give her that. I took a breath. "Officer, my name's Mike. I just bought this house. These are my friends Sam and Jay. They're helping me move in." The officer's eyes narrowed. "You have ID, proof of ownership?" I nodded, moving in exaggerated slow motion to grab my wallet. He checked my license, saw the address matched the house behind me. Still skeptical. So I reached again, pulled out my badge. Detective Mike, City PD. Silence. His whole stance shifted in an instant. And when Sam and Jay showed their badges too, the younger officer looked like he'd swallowed a bug. But across the street the woman shrieked, "Fake, those badges are fake." She was furious that her lie wasn't working. The officers eventually backed off, apologizing. They crossed the street to talk to her, and we watched as she flailed her arms, voice rising. They knew she was full of it, but she wasn't embarrassed, wasn't ashamed. She was enraged that we hadn't been hauled off in cuffs. And that's when I realized this wasn't over. The days that followed proved me right. Passive-aggressive notes about trash bins. Complaints about my lawn, about a barbecue that was too loud. Always anonymous, always targeted at me. She started poisoning the well, twisting little things into gossip online. People who used to wave now barely nodded. I felt like I was living under a microscope. Then came the real blow. A formal complaint filed against me, Sam and Jay. Intimidation, impersonating police officers. Internal affairs got involved. Sitting in that sterile gray interview room, 2 detectives staring me down, twisting every word out of my mouth, it was one of the most humiliating moments of my career. I wasn't a detective anymore. I was a suspect. And for the first time I asked myself, did I make a mistake moving here? Should I just sell the place? Walk away? I'd worked my whole life for this house, for this career. But what good was any of it if one woman's lies could strip it all away? That's when Frank appeared. '70s baseball cap kind eyes. He walked up one day while I was wrestling with my lawnmower, showed me how to get it running, then leaned on the fence and said quietly, "Don't pay her any mind. She's been pulling this for 20 years, thinks she owns the block. But you're not alone." It was the first crack of light in weeks. And then Frank did something that changed everything. He handed me a USB stick. His security camera had caught the entire moving day. Video and audio. You could hear her screaming lies into the phone while we stood 100 feet away, calm, unmoving. Proof. At the IA hearing, her complaint was read aloud like gospel paragraphs of wild fiction. Then Frank walked in, told the truth, straight and simple. And when they played that video on the big screen, the room went dead silent. Her words collapsed under the weight of reality. The complaint was dismissed, unfounded. Just like that, it was over. But it wasn't justice. There was no apology, no charges for making a false report, just a cold form letter. She walked away free, and I was left with the sour taste of survival without victory. For a while, things seemed to settle. Neighbors warmed up, apologized quietly. Frank invited me to poker nights. The woman Carol, yeah, by now I'd learned her name, became a pariah. Nobody talked to her. She just glared at me from across the street, all venom, no power. I let myself believe maybe it was done. That was my mistake. One evening I pulled into my driveway and saw flashing lights outside her house. A young cop was on her porch taking notes while Carol sobbed on her swing. Her words cut through the night. It was that girl Maya. She ran him over, laughed as she sped away. My blood went cold. Maya was Frank's granddaughter, 17 years old, and Carol was accusing her of a hit and run over her dog. Maya came home an hour later, humming backpack on her shoulder, only to find a cop waiting to grill her like a suspect. He found a scuff on her car bumper, called it evidence, ordered her vehicle impounded. Maya stood there trembling, tears streaming down her face. Frank was furious, shouting until the officer threatened to arrest him for obstruction. I knew then Carol hadn't just targeted me. She was willing to destroy a kid's life out of spite. So we did what we had to do. Sam, Jay, and I started digging. We found records showing Carol had made a suspicious donation to a struggling vet clinic just before the incident. A payoff. But that was circumstantial. We needed the truth, undeniable. And once again, Frank came through. His camera, same angle as before, showed Carol walking out of her house carrying the limp dog in her arms. She looked up and down the empty street, stepped out of frame, and minutes later reappeared alone. Then she sat down on the porch swing, buried her face in her hands, and began her wailing performance. No car, no hit and run, just a staged lie built on cruelty to her own pet. Watching that footage made my stomach turn. This time we skipped. IA skipped the department entirely. We took the evidence straight to the district attorney. Within days, investigators confirmed it Carol's donation, the vet admitting she'd refused treatment. The timeline. She hadn't lost her dog in some accident. She'd orchestrated the whole thing. The night they came for her was quiet, almost anticlimactic. 2 detectives, a uniformed officer, no sirens, no lights. Just a firm knock, a few words, and then Carol was in handcuffs. Her face, pale eyes hollow, staring straight at me across the street. And in that moment there was no power left in her glare. No venom, just emptiness. Sometimes the real battle isn't proving your innocence, it's holding on to your dignity until the truth finally speaks louder than the lies.